Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Reframeable podcast, the podcast that brings you people's stories and ideas about how we can work to reframe our relationship, not just with alcohol, but with stress, anxiety, relationships, enjoyment, and so much more. Because changing our relationship with alcohol is about so much more than changing the contents of our glass. This podcast is brought to you by the Reframe app. Reframe is the #1 iOS and Android app to help you cut back and quit drinking alcohol. It uses neuroscience to reframe your relationship with alcohol and unlock the healthiest, happiest you. My name is Kevin Bellack. I'm a certified professional recovery coach and the head of coaching at the Reframe app.
And I'm Emma Simmons. I'm a reframer, a certified life coach and thrive coach with Reframe from New Zealand. Hey, Kev. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a busy week. Kids are still on school holidays down here, still summer holidays. Oh, excuse me. So kids are doing activities, arranging play dates. I swear I'm busier in the school holidays than I am when they're actually at school. And working and, yeah, Uber mum plus working mum. Busy time. But at least it's sunny out and it's warm.
Yeah. As I look out in the gray, sunless, snow-covered, my phone says feels like 10 degrees.
I find this really funny now, and I'm on my little high horse that I've got summer and it's all nice and warm, but give it, 4 months, and I'll be like, yeah, shut up about your summer. I don't want to hear how sunny and warm it is. It's wet and cold and muddy.
Yeah. See, but I don't mind this. I like this. Yeah. It's -12 Celsius here. Okay, for anyone who cares.
I don't think anywhere in New Zealand gets -12. We have snow, we have mountain ranges, we have decent ski fields, but even then I don't think it, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
And that's the feels like. It says 21 degrees, feels like 10. So 21 is -6 Celsius.
Yeah, all right, we'd get there.
We got wind chill. I got Lake Erie about quarter mile away, so it's chilly.
None of this sounds exciting to me.
Yeah. I prefer this to sun, but sun, but just heat. I don't like heat.
No, I'm like a lizard. I will lay on a rock in the sun and just defrost my insides.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I'm always covered. We go to a beach or something, shirts off for 20 minutes. After that, long sleeve shirt back on, hat on, I'm good. I don't even mess with it anymore. Just because, let's get some vitamin D and then let's cover up the tattoos and protect the investment in ink. Basically it. Yeah.
It's probably why the tattoo on my back is all faded and bleh.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know how much all that factors in, but I won't take much of a chance anymore. Just because, the one time I did go to the dermatologist to get checked, which I should probably go back. She was looking, and I don't even have as much as I have now, but I remember her looking at this one up on my right, like up top of my right arm, and it's brownish colors in it, and I have freckles and all of that stuff, and this is probably the hardest, and she's really good dermatologist, like older. This is one of the most difficult places that I've had to look through the tattoo and all that. I'm like, that's probably when I was like, I should probably just stop going in the sun just to be careful of that.
That's probably, I thought you were going to say stop getting tattoos. I was like, that doesn't sound like the right answer.
No, that's like me. I just got another coffee mug this week, my transfer edition of coffee mugs. But I'm like, the answer isn't less mugs. It's just more shelves.
100%. I agree. So this week, we thought we would revisit our resolutions or our words of the year, see how we're going, do a check-in, revisit, touch base on, we're coming to the end of January. This will come out on, I think, the 31st of Jan or the last couple of days of Jan. Where are we at and what happened? What next? What happens after January?
What's next?
What's next? So my word for the year is I was going to say was need. It is need. I need to remember that. No. Yes, mine is need. Yours is when. I almost got the two confused.
When? Yeah.
Clearly, it hasn't embedded in for me yet because I can't even remember my word very well.
You need to
Revisiting.
remember your word.
I need to remember my word is need. What do I need? Although, that being said, so I actually, when I think about need, what do I need? I need to remember to check in with myself about what do I need, which is a fun little cyclical. Oh my gosh, cyclical thing going on in my head. Cyclical. Yeah, I mushed those two words nicely. Cyclical.
Yeah. You could just blame everything though on no, that's a word. That's how we say it.
That's what we say down here.
I'd be like, okay.
Sure. And then everyone in New Zealand and potentially Australia would be like, she's absolutely bullshitting you, Kev.
Focus.
So I forward focus.
You were saying something about focus. I wasn't telling you to focus. I thought.
I noticed that last week I wasn't paying attention to what I need, and I wasn't eating well, and I wasn't sleeping well. And I never know whether that's like a chicken or the egg scenario. Like if I don't sleep well, I kind of wake up and just go straight for coffee and then potentially forget to have breakfast. And then if I don't have breakfast, then chances are like I'll get to 3 o'clock and be like, shit, I haven't eaten anything today, which is terrible. I've just had coffee all day. And then because I'm having coffee so late, then I don't sleep at night, and it's just this horrible spiral. So I think like a small win I had at least was that I picked up pretty early on in my like little lack of self-care spiral that I need to stuff my face with food and get my ass to bed with a book, not a phone. And I need to implement those good habits that I know do really well for me. So yeah, I guess I did pick up on what I need a little bit, but that kind of feels what do I need on a basic sense, and that doesn't necessarily feel like I'm growing or improving, but I guess it means I'm not going backwards.
What do you mean? That's what I need in a basic sense.
Well, like
food and nourishment and sleep.
Food and sleep is a pretty base level need of a human, right?
But if you're not doing that, if you're not eating consistently or forgetting, because I do that too, or I'll just grab whatever's quickest because I have too many meetings in a day, or
grabbing a muesli bar or something. Ugh.
Yeah.
Terrible habit.
Yesterday, was a good example. I went from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. It wasn't wall-to-wall meetings, but it was wall-to-wall meetings and having to get things done that were on deadline or whatever. And I had my normal bar in the morning. I did have my overnight oats, which were just something I grabbed that I made 2 days before I didn't eat. And then I had another bar in the afternoon because I was like, I don't have time, just grabbing this. And didn't eat really anything until 7, 8 o'clock at night and was feeling it. But I think that is a basic need, but it is something that we can also neglect very easily depending on, I've been chalking that up to. Go ahead.
I was just to say, I think when I reflect on why I picked the word need, it was a little bit about making sure that my basic needs are met and maintained to be met. But it's more about what do I need to grow or get bigger or get better or get more, thrive. Get thrive? Yeah. That doesn't work. But
get thrive.
Get thrive. But I should put that on a t-shirt.
What's that for? Just random shit I said.
But I guess I can't. The likelihood of me getting thrive is less likely if my basic needs aren't being met. So if I'm not sleeping, if I'm not eating properly, then the likelihood of me thriving is unlikely. So all right, I'll accept it's potentially not where, reflecting on my word, that's potentially not where I thought this word was going to take me, but that's where we've gone. But February's different. Let's see if we can get thrive into February.
Yeah. I was laughing because as you said that the last time, I was writing down on my pad here, hashtag get thrive. I'll be
Merch
using
coming out
that
soon.
later. Yeah. Um, yeah. And that's a great point. That's a great example of we have this expectation of what we want this to look like or what we expect this to look like. And it's much different when we start really looking at it. And if we do really look at it and be like, all right, first, before I go and need to grow, look at all this growth stuff I want to do, can't do that if I'm tired and hungry.
Mm,
Um, that's, yeah, it's a great, just like I said, it's a great example of how once we start out and then the rubber meets the road, as they say, or whatever, you go, I don't know if you know that.
I know that. Yeah, carry on.
and you start going. I'm guessing the rubber is on a tire, whatever. And you start driving, and then you're like, oh, yeah, gotta pick up some food along the way. Oh, we gotta stop and take a nap before we can do that next thing, whatever that might be. Because yeah, what
Yeah.
would you say looking forward to February? If okay, let's just say now that you're focused on this, okay, I need to set an alarm to eat, or I need to put that on a eat lunch is a do that I check off actually because it's easy for me to forget. Uh, okay, I got that taken care of. Okay, I'm at least focused on sleeping, or I'm reading that book beforehand and doing certain things there. What would be that next need for growth that you
Need.
wanted to?
That is an excellent question, and I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
Maybe I need to think about it more. I
there
need
you
to pay
go.
more, I need to put some focus into it. Yeah, because I don't know what my next step is of what I need to do for me. I know what I need to do around the house. That doesn't sound fun though.
Yeah,
I need to do yard work. Although I enjoy doing yard work, ripping out weeds is very therapeutic. Anyway, yeah, maybe I need to pay more attention to what I need for growth. I don't know.
yeah.
How's your win coming on?
When, and that comes from yeah, if not now, when? That meaning of why am I waiting for a certain point to do this or that or whatever? Goes along with that whole there's never a perfect time, and I'm not getting any younger, and stuff like that. And yeah, I did revisit this week a bit because this week, yeah, the 22nd is I always celebrate that as like this year is 6 years since what I consider my bottom, whatever. Whenever I decided to, when I actively, that was the night I did something to actually make a change, and it wasn't anything dramatic either. It wasn't anything. I was sitting on my couch having a little breakdown and signing up for a therapist online, telehealth shit, because I was like looking at all my options and I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to talk to somebody. And that was definitely a, if not now, when moment. So I was reflecting on that this week, especially that night. But I've done that a little bit this month as far as trying to push through because January is just I can't get away from it. It's always busy. It's always a busy month. Back in when I was an accountant, year end, dealing with all that, that was definitely a lot of hours put in. And now working at Reframe, the new year, everybody looking to make changes, and we our dry and damp January challenges and all of that stuff. It's always busy. I try and do my best to keep and maintain the things that help me. The little, yeah, I like to call them my bookends. I just talked about that in a video that I just prepped for the challenge with my bookends, the morning and evening routines. And yeah, I might have in January, I have potentially one bookend a day. I rarely get two bookends in a day and what I mean is just I can have a mindful morning, but maybe I'm working later and my evening doesn't, I don't know whether it's my ADHD, revenge, bedtime, procrastination kicking in. That's a thing for me for sure. Or if I go to bed early, this Monday I woke up at 5. I went to bed early on Sunday. I woke up at 5. I went out for a walk in -7 degree temperature, -21 Celsius. There you go. But got off for my walk. I stretched that night. I was reading. I was doing the things, but it's maintaining that is always difficult in this time. So I just tried to at least do something each day, and that's where
I mean,
I'm now
one
revisiting.
bookend is better than no bookends, right?
Yeah, and I certainly had some days with no bookends, but I at least had one the majority of the month, and that's where shifting my focus now, getting out of January, getting past the work for the challenge itself. And so that's a little, not to say that there's plenty of work always to be done, but a little more breathing room there. And that'll be my focus too, because if not now, when? Am I going to wait till March? And
Mm.
that's it. You just keep, I'm not going to beat myself up for not starting out. And I'm running the Tiny Habits book club. I don't beat myself up for my habits when they go awry. Like, it's a work in progress, and that's why I became a Tiny Habit certified coach, because I wanted to learn more about it. I wanted to dive in more for myself. Doesn't mean that I always do it. I do floss that one tooth every day.
Just the one. So you're not
just the
losing.
just the one.
Well, I
No,
guess it's two teeth, isn't
typically
it? Because
most.
it's
It is two
between
teeth.
two teeth.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I've always had that conundrum. Yeah. Whenever, but yeah, and usually it's all of them. But there have been a couple times this week when it was just the one because I was tired and not feeling it.
That almost sounds like a rebellious toddler being like, "You said I only had to do one."
And that's
You're
it.
just rebelling.
Sometimes I like doing that. I don't want to get into a whole. I feel like I talk about my one. I've talked about flossing one tooth for 8 months now with all of my habit stuff. That was one of the examples in the book, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. I need to floss my teeth more, and by more, floss my teeth. I floss it a couple days before I go to the dentist, and when I need it, which isn't that often, right?
Is not daily.
Yeah. So it's not daily, but it has been for the most part daily over the last 8 months because I've only had to floss one tooth and I made it easy for myself. So, how did we get there? Why does it always go to
No
my
idea.
tooth flossing? Because I at least still focused on doing some things, staying connected with those little things that are helpful in my bookends too. I'm still reading every day, even if it's just that one page. But I do want to do more stuff. I need to get my ass moving more and getting out for those walks, or I want to do more working out and stuff like that. And that's where my if not now, when is kicking in. And that's going to be a real focus for me moving into February. So,
Yeah, shifting gears from January to February. How do you do that? Or what do you do? What are some solutions or ideas or
just in general from month to month, or related to specifically anything with January,
uh,
Feb?
both? I guess for some people, maybe they were sober curious, or maybe they were just doing a reset and doing dry Jan or damp Jan as a bit
Yeah.
of a reset or a bit of a refocus. So, yeah, what do you do shifting into February? Do you just drop everything and go, cool, that was done, ticked it off the bucket list and moving on? Do you go, that was actually feel really good and want to keep going? Or what do you do? Yeah, moving from January into February. But then I guess also month to month. But we are moving from January to February, so we should probably focus on that.
Yeah. With looking at the January challenge. Like if you came into Reframe or on your own and just you did a challenge, you dry, damp, whatever, then I would say, what was your goal? Right? Was it just to, like you said, was it just the reboot? Was it just the reset, a challenge itself, just to see if you could do it, or to, yeah, just go about it that way? In which case, then what is the plan heading into whether you dry or damp, whether you didn't drink at all, or whether you're successful 100% or not, whatever. So, yeah, the transitioning into a new month in general, I think I like to, I use the months as kind of checkpoints, right? They're easy checkpoints. You can use whatever you want, but, and I just happened, I know I was mentioning this to you earlier, like my sober anniversary, whatever, alcohol free date, whatever you want to call it, was April 29th. So the 29th of the month always stands out to me, especially early on. I was always like, oh, how many months? And now I still do the math because I'm just like, oh, how many is it now? You have to stop counting months though. 2 years.
It's like when you've got
Toddler
kids, right?
rules. Yeah. You can't say I'm 36 months anymore. You can go up to 24. No, you can go up to 23 and then it's 2 years.
Good to
I'll
know.
give you two.
Thanks.
I'll give you 2.5. But the 29th is always like that good day for me because I remember it. And not that I don't remember the last day of the month either, because you can just see it. But I also have done different things. Like at the last Sunday of every month, I told Siri to put a, shut up, Siri, put a calendar event on the last Sunday of every month at 6 o'clock and just say, put it as check in or, and I was doing that to take a look at, okay, how did this month go? Let's reset, let's regroup. And what do I want to work
Mm.
on in the coming month? And yeah, so that's a good checkpoint for me. So using that, depending on how, like I said, if you did any of the challenges, if you were only, hey, I'm going to do the dry challenge, the damp challenge, whatever. What is that transition if you're going to reintroduce alcohol or go, what's the plan after January is basically the question.
Mm.
And that I always think if you're questioning it, like, oh, I feel good. What do I do? I always threw out to people, I'm like, just keep it going. If you don't know, like, just
Well, I
extend it a
guess
bit.
reflect on how you felt while you were doing the
Yeah.
challenge. Did how did you, and be really like brutally honest with yourself. How did you feel? How did you sleep? How did you feel? How was your brain? How was your mental well-being? Like how how did it go? How did it feel? Did it feel good? Yeah, so if you don't know, yeah, if you don't know what to do next, perhaps spend some time reflecting on how it felt, how the month went. Does how did your choices impact your day-to-day life? And if you were doing, say, damp January, and you're like, yeah, it was okay. Maybe this is the challenge to be like, okay, let's do sober February. There's no cool rhyme for like sober February. Dry Feb.
Try Feb,
A
yeah. AFEB,
A Feb.
AFF.
I don't know. I'm sure.
We'll work on that. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll brainstorm that one. But yeah, maybe that's February is the shortest month of the year. So if you are, if that's one of your hang-ups of 31 days is a really long time, or 28 is less. So yeah, maybe you do try going alcohol free alcohol free for February.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay. We'll have to think of something else for this.
Yeah, we'll brainstorm that.
I have
Yeah,
heard
maybe that's an
somebody
option.
on a meeting recently, like, share, I didn't want to do January. I can't remember the exact reason, but they're like, but I'm doing February. I just wanted, it's the shortest month. And it was just psychologically speaking, it was more of a kind of like that whole thing. I don't want to start on a Monday for something because I'm just going to start on a random day, or I'm not going to start on January 1st because I don't like that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, working on what I'm working on. And then in February, I'll tackle this. And I always throw out if you do like the January challenge, I used to host on 1,000 Hours Dry, that page. And 1,000 hours is 42 days 41
I
point.
hate it when people say it though, because the best part of 1,000 hours dry was that I didn't know how many days it was. And so I was just, because I started my sober challenge with, well, my sober career journey with 1,000 hours dry challenge. And that worked for me because I wasn't counting down from 42. I was counting up to 1,000. And then it just kept going because I didn't know
Yeah.
when, I didn't have it marked on the calendar when I was going to be at
You could
1,000
count
hours.
up to 42 as well.
I know, but my brain didn't work like that.
I know.
It was like a little life
but
hack.
because I do think it is like the hours, I think is psychologically different. And it is that because days is very, it's what we always talk about. And
Well, you
we
can
have this
mark it
thing
on
in
a
our head.
calendar. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, 1,000 hours on this many hours, we don't, our brains don't think like that as much. So it is that more, yeah, I don't know how I would put it, but yeah, it's a
Because
different
it's
mindset.
slightly more abstract way of thinking about it, or
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
that's good.
for, I don't know if it was, yeah, that's a good point. Like you can still count up from 1 to 30 in a month, but it was almost like when I was doing monthly challenges, the 30th or the 31st of the month was like the end date. So when you're running a marathon and you pass the finish line, you get to the end, you collapse in a heap because you don't have to run anymore. At least that's what I do. And so that was the same kind of mindset with drinking, month-long stints of sobriety or month-long stints from drinking. It was like I just had to get to the finish line, and then I could be an absolute train wreck again.
Yeah.
But yeah, something about 1,000 hours when you don't actually know where the finish line is per se. I don't know. It changed my mindset. Sorry, I derailed your comment on
And that's
pushing.
fine because what you just said though about it made me absolutely anxious because when you don't know where the finish line is with something that is finite, I was sitting there thinking, I was imagining running without knowing how far I had to run. And after a while, I would be like, all right,
Forrest Gump it.
give me a percentage. How far am I into this? And technically it's not 42 days. It's 41.67 days. I had to, because I hosted on that page. So I was always figuring out, it was always a thing, figuring out when the challenge, because we did rounds of it where we would, on April 1st or 16th or whatever day we picked, we're starting it. But anybody could do it at any point in time. It wasn't like you had to join us, but it was just something to do together. But yeah, I was sitting there thinking, especially if it ended on my day, that round, I was like, okay, 0.67, like what time of day is it officially over? My comment was, we used to say that we used to do a 1,000 hours dry challenge for January, and we called it Dry January for Overachievers because you get those extra 10, 11 days in there. And I did like that because, and I share that often, if somebody's, I don't know what to do, I'm always like, go 1,000 hours and see, just extend it a bit. And you don't have to decide. And this is a nice little way to, again, challenge yourself and extend it a bit. And then, and you could keep doing this. I'm not saying that, but okay, you get to the 11th or 12th of February and you're like, do I continue on for the rest of the month and then revisit?
Yeah, almost halfway there. Just keep going?
Yeah. And I don't mean to say it like, okay, it sounds like I'm just going to keep kicking the can down the road, which you could, but especially if you're unsure, look at the positives of whatever you do, anything, like whether it relates to alcohol, whether it's some challenge with, or not even challenge, like it's something that you're, okay, in February, I'm going to walk outside every day. I got to revisit that and be like, oh, how's that working for me? Do I want to do something else? Is it causing
is walking
strain
outside
somewhere?
actually the one when it's like minus 21 degrees or whatever? Or could I walk on a treadmill inside? Or could I don't know,
I still
do
like going outside.
burpees? Yeah, being outside is...
God. No one's ever said I could walk outside or I could do burpees and chose burpees.
I was trying to think of something you can do that's like inside, although doing burpees inside is probably also not a great idea. Or maybe I don't know, because not everyone has a treadmill. I don't have a treadmill. Maybe you do star jumps inside. No, also jumping inside. Again, Emma, quit with the jumping brain.
We have I have a treadmill. I'd still rather go
You,
outside.
I do. I very much. There's something about it's obviously fresh air and oxytocin and smelling the soil and yada yada yada.
No, there's no soil smell right now.
It's just snow. Does snow smell?
Winter, only if it's. God, I was gonna go. I'm
Only if
guessing
it's
yellow
yellow.
snow. I'm guessing yellow snow smells. But I don't know. I'll have to go outside and see. Is there a? I can't put
Imagine
my
it.
finger on it. If there is like a smell, fresh cut grass or something, you can
Mm,
smell those things. I'm drawing a blank on that. Stay
okay,
tuned
interesting.
for the next
Stay
episode
tuned.
when we talk about the smell of snow.
So- oh, fun times in our brains. But yeah, no, there's exercise which is amazing for us, and then there's outdoor exercise which is I don't know, a different. It
Different.
almost feels like a completely different thing. It doesn't have to be outdoor exercise till you're sweating up a storm. It can be gentle walking where you don't sweat at all. Well, don't
Yeah.
raise a sweat, but you're outside and you're moving your body. My point being, circling back, if your goal for the month of February or January or whatever was to exercise outside every day, but then you go, actually, it's the middle of winter and it's freezing and I'm actually not enjoying this. How can you, let's revisit it. You don't have to completely drop your goal of, I want to exercise every day, but perhaps it's, yeah, I want to exercise every day rather than I want to exercise outside every day. Or maybe it's, I still want to get outside, but I do it at midday when it's not absolutely freezing, or maybe I need to invest in some really decent thermal lined
Yeah.
clothing, beanies, hats, gloves.
Yeah.
Says someone who
Well,
doesn't live in the snow.
yeah. Beanies, hats, gloves, coat. Yeah. All the things. Yeah. I had the Under Armour leggings on underneath my joggers or whatever. And yeah, some boots. Yeah. You got to, and that is, if we set out to do something for the month and we recognize, then we start and we're like, yeah, I wanted to do that because I wanted to, because someone said something about it. Someone else was doing it, whatever. We saw it. And that's, I referenced Tiny Habits before, and his pack person approach. PAC is person, action, context, and how you can troubleshoot things looking at what you just mentioned. The whatever I'm doing, can I get, as a person, can I get increase my skills with it? If it's not working, is there something I can do? And let's just say something workout related. Increasing my skills could be watching YouTube videos to how on proper form on how to do burpees or whatever. And so you could do that. You could the help yourself by the context and like getting different tools, making sure that you have the right gear for it, making sure that that you have warm enough gear, that you have the right clothes or shoes or whatever it is for whatever you want to do, equipment. Or the action piece of it is, can you make it smaller? If it's, and he talks about how when our motivation's high, if our motivation's high and we're troubleshooting it, then what are the skills that you could add in? What is the other stuff that you could get? If our motivation's low, make it smaller. Don't sit there and tell myself I have to go outside when it's -7 degrees and walk and blah, blah, blah. I have to go into my basement and stand on the treadmill, maybe push start. And then anything else I do after that's extra credit. I don't have to keep going with it. How do you adjust is where I'm getting to with that. And because that's like looking back, that's part of that. Okay, I'm looking back at this month. What went well? What do I want to improve on? What can I carry forward with me to next month? How do I adjust it? If I want to keep that going, what was making it difficult if I did have trouble with it? And going through that kind of checklist there.
Felt good. What didn't feel good?
Yeah.
What did I enjoy?
Yeah.
What did I not enjoy? Don't get me wrong, sometimes there are going to be things in life to do with our goals or our habits that we don't enjoy, but if you're not enjoying it, can you tweak it to make it slightly less unenjoyable? Slightly more enjoyable?
Yeah. And that's the whole topic we're talking this week in the book club too, is celebration too. Because you don't want to, we don't do as humans, we don't do things that are painful for long unless there's
Mm.
some benefit to it. Or we might do it, but we're not going to like it if we're miserable. That's not good. That's not going to, and I always try and look for things to be, if I'm going to work something in, I want it to be sustainable. Therefore, I want to like it, and celebrating in some way. There's a lot to that, but that's going to, if we feel good about something and we celebrate it right away, give myself a high five, give someone else a high five, just share it on my stories and social media, just even marking an X on my calendar that I did that thing right there, and saying something or thinking something good about that. That's what hardwires these things into our brain, these habits, these behaviors, not, oh, if I do this for all of January or all of February, I'm going to reward myself with this. It's like, that's not how behavior change works, because
Mm.
we won't do things for too long if there's not a benefit to it. And looking out days, weeks, months in advance for that benefit isn't going to necessarily help it take hold.
Don't get me wrong, if you've done dry January or damp January and you've stuck within your goals and you come to the 31st of January,
Yes.
absolutely reward yourself, celebrate
Yeah.
yourself somehow, however that there's rewarding yourself as in I've achieved a milestone, but then there's also celebrating the wins as they happen to reinforce that habit in your brain that
Yeah.
this shit is good. Let's do this again. This
Yeah.
makes me happy. This makes me feel good. I want to do this
Yeah.
again. Let's reinforce
And
that
that's, yeah,
neural
exactly. I was going to
pathway.
say, yeah, I wasn't definitely not saying that, because even going into the app and on that day, hitting my target,
Yeah.
getting that green coffee mug for 0 days, or hitting my target on on the damn challenge, uh, celebration pops up, and it's all the things that happen there. That's celebrating it right there. We might not see it that way, but that little bit can help. But acknowledging it ourselves too each day. That's where different activities, like whether it's, I'm not gonna, just thinking of something that you're grateful for the day or those types of things, that's where that positive stuff helps.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like I've been
think in
talking
the
about that
beginning
a
for
lot too.
me, I was just thinking back to my beginning days of I remember someone saying in one of the first meetings I was on, pillow to pillow. And it's a phrase that you'll hear a lot in the recovery space or the sobriety space. And my little win or like a little celebration or acknowledgement, I didn't even know what it was at the time, but looking back now, reflecting back now, I would get to bed and my head would hit the pillow. And I don't know if it was a sigh of relief or just like a fuck yes, like pillow to pillow, another day, heads on the pillow, sober. And that was my little like fist pump. I've done it. So yeah, that was just my daily little. I didn't even know that I was doing it. How cool is
That's
that? My
great.
brain was just
Yeah.
like automatically acknowledging my wins. So yeah, it doesn't need to be like I'm going to celebrate with a manicure each
I'm
day,
going to get a
or I don't know.
massage at the end. I'm going to get
Yeah,
yeah. I'm looking forward to that tattoo that I get when I hit 6 years or 1 year or a month. Yeah.
I'm planning my 2-year tattoo. I am.
Oh yeah. I'm chomping at the bit now. It's been too long.
We got plans. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't have to be like, yeah, absolutely do little celebrations. And I think I think the daily, or maybe not daily celebrate, but like the small internal celebrations, acknowledging the milestones for yourself almost need to be quite internal and self-reflective of let's not get that validation externally, let's get that validation internally. So that's like high-fiving yourself or doing a little dance party or a little fist pump or
Yeah.
something like that. And just for yourself, that means something to you. And then save the big external rewards for the rewards at the end of the goal,
Yeah.
like getting a
Yes.
massage, like getting a
Yeah.
tattoo, like going for dinner, going for brunch, going for, I don't know,
Yeah. Having that cake, having
having that
whatever.
cake for breakfast. Is that appropriate? Maybe.
What's a donut? It's cake.
A waffle pancake, pancakes is a breakfast food. Yes, nailed it. Pancakes for
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What did you just say there? It was, I think, because I think we have, and I'm seeing this a lot talking with people about behavior change and our habits, and this whole concept of celebrating early, often, like when you remember to do your habit or the behavior, whenever you are doing it, after you do it, when your head hits the pillow at night, after my head hits the pillow, I'm going to think of something good
Fist
from the
bump.
day, and I'm going to say fist pump. I'm going to say hell yeah, whatever. Like, we think that we have to earn a celebration, and yeah, we do, but we feel like I think it's ingrained in us that I didn't do enough to celebrate, right?
Mm,
And it's no, you, if you did anything, celebrate it if it's something that you want to keep doing. Because yeah, what you celebrate and repeat and do that, you're going to start to feel good about more and more as you go, and more quickly be able to add these types of things, whatever they are, into our life because we're feeling positive about them. There is this, I think, whole societal, I got to get to the end of the year and be perfect, and I got to do all the things, and I'm not there yet, and I got to wait to celebrate. I didn't earn it, and all this stuff is bullshit. Now,
mm,
if I didn't do anything today that was on my list, or that I said I was going to do this and I didn't, okay, but what else did I do? Did I just sit around and do nothing? Okay, why did I do that? Did I need the rest? You could go down all these rabbit holes of just because I didn't do necessarily what I said I was going to do, but I did all these things over here. But I'm ignoring
mm.
this because it wasn't this list. It's okay, but you created a whole new list today and got all that done. Add everything to the list. I love the to-do list. Since I learned
Yeah.
that, when I need that, I pull that out and ate lunch
What did I
today.
achieve today?
Check.
Tick.
Yeah. Showered first thing, check. My ADHD takes hold, and I'm like, I have plenty of time. And then I got to be somewhere at the hour, and
It's
I'm
5-2
giving
and you're like, oh
myself like
shit.
5 minutes. Yeah, um, I can do it. Anyway, going off on a tangent with all that. But so reassessing, though, what we were talking about, like heading in from
Mm.
going from one month to another, celebrating those wins, but also thinking about, yeah, what's next?
What worked? What felt good? I think that's what trying to get really reflect. I keep saying reflective, but that's my maybe one of my biggest tools is actually thinking about what felt good, what did I enjoy, and being like, okay, let's repeat that, let's replicate that. If that feels good to me, let's repeat it. And if that doesn't feel good, what doesn't feel good about it? So maybe you did dry January and you had a couple of slips, and let's reflect on those slips. What or slips, or let's not even call them slips. Just you had a couple of drinks, had a day or two where you had a couple of drinks. Let's reflect on that. What happened in that scenario? Did it feel good? Were you drinking because you wanted to celebrate? Were you drinking to enhance that moment? Were you drinking out of frustration or out of stress? Yeah, let's reflect on that and think about, did that drink make you feel good? Only you can answer that question to yourself really honestly. No
Yeah,
one else can tell you how you felt or knows how you felt in that moment.
I would probably have answered it. Yeah, I felt good. But the
But how
the
did you feel the
question,
next day?
how'd you feel the next day? But even if it's just a little bit, and it's just, what were you? If it was something where I didn't want to drink and I did, and if it felt good, what were you looking for in that moment? Like, why did you feel that, okay, I'm going to do this, or screw it, I'm going to do this? However it came out, what did you feel you needed in that moment, and what did that give you? Because yeah, I can feel
Mm,
good, but it gave you something. It gave you, I was stressed and I felt looser or more relaxed afterwards. Okay, that's where adding in something, I don't know what, the million different things that you could do to de-stress and relax and help yourself there. But it's just a matter of identifying that and being like, what could I do throughout the week to help me there? What else could I add in? And it's not all about adding in. What else
mm,
could I take out that's stressing me out?
mm. Yeah, two pronged approach. What can I take out? But also what can I add in? Sometimes you can't take out the job, although many of us would like to. You can't just quit your job many of us, what can you add in instead? Maybe you add in a lunchtime walk, or maybe you add in a, I don't know, yoga session straight after work, or maybe a rage run straight after work, or I don't know. Maybe you add in something. But also I like the
Burpees.
idea of taking burpees, rage burpees.
Their burpees are
Let's
already rage.
let's turn that into a thing instead of rage
I'm
running, rage burpees.
I'm already enraged if I have to ever do burpees. Don't worry.
I would rather do burpees than go on the rowing machine. Controversial opinion.
I guess it depends on how many burpees I have to do versus how long I have to row.
That's a very good point. I hate the rowing machine.
Yeah, if
Sorry,
anybody
Coach
wants a
Osh.
rowing
Coach
machine, we have
Chin
a
is
rowing
selling
machine
it.
downstairs that I haven't used,
Almost
nobody's used in
unused.
years. Yeah, almost. Pretty much unused.
Yeah. Sorry, I took us on a tangent and I can't remember where we were.
I might have taken us off rage walking, talking about like how do you de-stress those things you walk at lunch, or and we talked about rage
Rage
burpees
run,
and
rage
I
burpee,
think
yeah. Yeah, what can you add in if you can't take out what's causing that stress or that discomfort? What can you add in? If you can take it out, amazing, do that.
yeah. That's what's the easiest? Yeah, it's not always about adding more and more in, because that's the last thing we want to do half the time. That's what stresses us out is, I got to do another thing. Nope, you can. But also you don't have to, if you do add something in, start small. Don't add in 100 burpees, 20 minutes of meditation. Add in after I sit down with my coffee, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths. That's my mindfulness piece, and just add that in and then see how you feel, and then take that sip of coffee. That's almost like a celebration in of itself, especially the first sip.
How good is that first sip?
I know. Yeah. So let's see. The other thing that we might do is we might go too big.
Yeah. Or I think that's something that I certainly did when I first started Reframe not when I started Reframe, but when I got serious about sobriety, was I think I tried to add in too many things, and I definitely got a bit of recovery fatigue. I was trying to do all the things, and I was trying to do all of them at 100%, which you can't do 10 100%. You got to do 10%. You know, that's how math works, sure.
As I look up, I'm sitting here doing that math in my head. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, like you
can
can't,
do 10.
like you said,
yeah,
you can't do 30 minutes of meditation plus a 1 hour run plus a 1 hour weights training plus walk the dog for half an hour plus there's just absolutely not enough time in the day, not enough hours.
Yeah, I have my journal here where I was doing my morning pages, 3 pages a day, and what did I get? I got the biggest journal. I thought it was a normal 8x10 paper size. No, it's like 11 by
It's like
14.
A4.
Yeah, and I remember going in here somewhere in the beginning, because I was doing my morning pages, just writing. You're supposed to write 3 pages, and you can get a small book, and 3 pages is a
I
lot better
would
than
get the
this.
tiniest little book if I
Yeah,
had to write 3
that's what
pages.
I would recommend. But I was sitting here, there's a little, I'm going to show you my stuff. I have like this one day, part of my 3 pages was like, I'm trying to think through. I was like focused on my morning routine. And then I just drew right from 5 to 11 o'clock. Like I just drew my morning and overall, and I started putting things in, and I'm like, everything you want to do doesn't fit here. Here's the evidence.
Physically, there's not enough. Yeah.
Something has to give. Like I want to do all this. It's fine. I'll fit it in. But then we beat ourselves up for not fitting it in, but we don't take the time to look and say, that wasn't very realistic, was it?
But that's why reflection is so good.
Yeah. And that's why I was just going to pull this back to that. And this is all kind of the stuff that we should maybe take a look at when, for me, like on the 29th, when I take a moment to sit there and reflect, or look through my calendar, or look through my camera reel. I've done that, where it's just like, what happened this month? And I look through my photos.
That's a good idea. Looking through your camera reel. I hadn't thought of that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
It's probably just a month of screenshots of memes. That's
Yeah.
fun too.
Mine is a bunch of videos of me in front of the green screen for dry and damp January. My camera, I get so much anxiety. I take pictures of the most random shit around, just funny, or I'm always nervous if no one should flip through a camera. And it's not anything bad. It's just stupid shit. It's just, don't flip.
Well, it's
What day
almost,
are you on? What did I do that day?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost as telling as someone going through like your Spotify history. Really? You like that song? Really? You took a photo of that? Really? You
Yeah.
screenshotted that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
And, yeah. That's half the shit that I'd probably just take a picture of and send to my wife to annoy her, or use the invisible ink when you send it, so that I don't open anything up from you at work that's invisible ink. It would have been like our dog in the backyard going to the bathroom or something. Just random. like, I'm like,
For
what?
Christmas.
I thought you missed them and
I
you
thought you
wanted to
missed our
see them
puppy.
today. Yeah.
For
Anyway,
Christmas, not this year, last year, I followed our dog Bruce around for a month, taking photos of her doing her business in various locations and printed them out and gave them to my husband as some bathroom art.
nice.
I'm a
I've
nice
seen that
wife.
recently. Someone doing
Yeah.
that where they like a picture of their dog. Yeah. But they framed it big and put it like
Yeah.
above the toilet, or yeah.
Yeah. Right next to the
Yeah.
toilet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Absolutely stole that idea off like Instagram or whatever. That was not an Emma original, but it was funny nonetheless.
Yeah.
Except that my dog is black. She's a black fluffy spoodle. Photos didn't turn out so good. I need a professional photographer to follow my dog around for a month.
What's a spoodle?
I think you call them a cockapoo in America. A
Oh,
cocker
what's a
spaniel crossed with a
cockapoo?
poodle.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're going with the
Spoodles. So
spaniel. Yeah, spoodle sounds like
cockapoo
a
sounds like a bird, like a cockatiel.
yeah. I like spoodle better, but it also sounds like zoodle or like zucchini
Like a
noodles. It sounds
food
like
or
some kind of
something.
noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah, like spaghetti
Yeah.
squash noodles. Spoodles. All right.
All right. So what did we learn this week? What are our tidbits?
I learned that it's super easy for us, if we just say a funny word, to go off on a tangent.
So this week I learned, and I'm not going to give a heck of a lot of backstory other than, okay, so Kev, I've got two daughters. So I know what it's like living with two daughters. I know how to feed two young girls, two daughters. I learned this week that it is unnecessary to cook 3 kgs of mince for a 16-year-old boy for dinner. That is an excessive amount of mince. That is what I learned this week.
Okay, and it's funny because now that I'm reading it on here, with the note that you made, and when you told me before, I was confused, but because I thought you were saying that he ate 3 kilograms of mincemeat, ground beef, whatever, which is, as we looked up, 6.6 pounds. I thought you said that he ate all of that. That's why I was confused earlier.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
so
no,
that's excessive. It might
it was
be.
excessive. I overcated. I cooked enough nacho
Yeah,
mix to feed a rugby team because
got it.
in Emma world, in Emma brain, a 16-year-old boy eats a lot, is a bottomless pit. Like you hear all these stories. I don't have
Yeah.
experience with teenage boys, so I don't know.
Oh,
So I just wanted to make sure that I had enough food, and I drastically overcated. So
yeah.
now we have a freezer full of nacho mix.
Yeah,
If
it'd be one thing if he brought a friend too, but just him by himself, he's probably trying
yeah.
to not pig out and eat 6 pounds of.
To be fair, it was the first time I'd met him, so he's probably trying to be very polite and not go
Yeah,
first into the whole bowl of nacho mix. But
This-
weeks old when I learned that a single
yeah,
male cannot eat 3 kilos of mince.
can maybe, but shouldn't. Um, but that being said, I'm the youngest of four boys, so I remember the stories, and I remember it vaguely. Like the closest to me was 6 years. Yeah, he's 51. Yeah, 6 years older than me. So it was like 6, 7, and 8 years, 6, 7, and 9 years older than me. So when they were in high school, I was a little shit, and they were all big football players. Like my mom would make 5 pounds of mashed potatoes for dinner, one meal. We went through a gallon of milk. She made them drink a glass of water before they even sat down to eat so that they would maybe drink a little less milk. But yeah, the amount of food they had to make, and there's just me. Then I would be the only one left because I was the little runt that
You got the scraps?
smallest, and I would sit there forever, and I just didn't eat. So they had to set a timer for me, and you better be done by this time, or you're not getting anything else, and all that stuff. I was the opposite end of the spectrum for that. I don't know, but yeah, with those three all playing football, coming home, I just remember the 5 pounds of potatoes and a gallon of milk, among other stuff.
I can't wrap my head around how did your mother actually mash that amount of potatoes?
I don't know if she got instant. I don't know.
Blech. That's gross.
But you got to take some shortcuts
Yeah, I know.
somewhere. I don't remember. I'll have to ask.
I'm not yucking your mum's yum, but yeah, instant potatoes. We had instant potatoes when I was at boarding school, and I can't ever again. Blech. Maybe she did it in batches. I don't know. Maybe I should interrogate your mother instead of interrogating you.
Yeah. I'll have to ask her. So we were talking about this on the podcast. Can you give us a rundown of? Yeah. I remember going grocery shopping with her, and we had 2 grocery carts we were pushing around every 2 weeks or month or whenever, however often we went. I don't remember. Again, young. I don't know. I don't remember.
Your poor mother.
That was probably a common phrase. Yeah. I can't remember what my name was. Elizabeth? They didn't even have a boy's name for me ready. They're like, it can't possibly be another boy.
Certain.
Yeah, it can't possibly be another boy. Damn it. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Reflect, reassess, revisit that word, that resolution, whatever that might be. How can you reframe? I'll throw that one into that. Yeah. Anything else you want to mention? Yeah.
Just get curious about it. Get curious about your feelings over the past month. Or get curious about what you want going forward as well. Or what you need.
And when you're going to do it. No. And if not now, when are you going to do it? Any other words we need to touch on there? Burpee.
I think we
rage burpees. Hashtag get thrive. All right. And with that, thank you all for listening to this week's episode of the Reframeable podcast, brought to you by the Reframe app. Reframe is the #1 iOS app to help you cut back or quit drinking alcohol. It uses neuroscience to reframe your relationship with alcohol and unlock the healthiest, happiest you. If you're enjoying this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share with those that you feel may benefit from it. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover, please send an email to podcast@reframeapp.com. Or if you're in the Reframe app already, give it a shake and let us know. I want to thank you again for listening, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Have a great day.
Bye, friends.